go with a show that isn't a real show. I know some people that do that. They do a show for nobody. Leave it alone. I can't help but watch sometimes. Sometimes I tune into Opie's shows. I don't know. He gets 300 and something people, like in total. It goes like 20 people, and then it'll go like 100, maybe a week later, and then like it tops out at 300 if it's like a biggie. And I don't know. I was watching one last night. I think it was his latest one he did from 500 feet above Manhattan. You're obsessed. You're obsessed with Opie. No, I'm not obsessed. I'm just, look, we were radio partners for like 20 years. So I kind of look at what he's doing. I kind of, I get alerts when he's going to be on YouTube and whatnot. And he was up. It's got a beautiful view of the Hudson River from his apartment, upper west side of Manhattan. And he sits there in front of the window. There you go. That's the view. Some of that like the white balance is on frigid cold. That's like a very cold. Warm that picture of a bit. How about some warmth? The blue is amazing, the blue sky and everything, but you could warm up the buildings and yourself. It looks like he's filming this from inside a freezer. It's very cold. And then the camera itself is like a cheap little cam. He's going for the wide angle thing, I understand, because it's a beautiful view, but you can make it look better than that. He's one of the few people that have an actual backdrop of Manhattan. It's not a green screen. So, you'd think you'd want to capitalize on that and make it look really good and, the crisp blue sky, but then the buildings have that earth tone to it and he doesn't look like he just came out of a freezer. Everything's that same shade of blue on there. I'm just trying to help. And then he comes on. This show lasted about an hour and something, I guess. How long was this one?
34 minutes.
Oh, okay. It wasn't even an hour. 34 minutes. I swear to you, he was just reading the chat. First, it's 10 minutes of introducing everyone that's coming in the room. And I think this is a technique you use to get people in before you start talking about things that you really want a lot of people to hear. So you don't pop on and start the show right away. Other people have solved this dilemma by having an intro. You watch certain shows. Chrissy does it. Chrissy Mayer. Shuley has an intro that goes on for quite some time. And it's a bunch of Stuttering John's song parodies that are really funny and animations and clips that are put together. And as that's playing, the people are coming into the room so that right when you start, you have your audience. You don't have to sit there and acknowledge everyone that's coming into the room. Because it's not very interesting to the people already in the room. I think it might be interesting to the person that you're announcing. Like, hey, said my name. But, it's not that interesting. And then when everyone's kind of in the room and he gets off of that, all he does is continue reading the chat and people that, and it's all just these one-offs of, we take calls here. We understand what the people can contribute and more often what they can't contribute. So, it's these one-off questions. How's your dog? You've been fishing? Like shit like that. And you're like, nah. And then anything political, he just kind of poo-poos it. So it'll be like, hey, what do you think of the Palestine-Israel thing? I don't get involved. Both sides, politics. And, so there's nothing really. And then it just goes like that to the end. There's no real topic. He's never talking about anything. The most I've seen him do, especially recently with the NBA playoffs, I guess, He's a big basketball guy. So he was talking, people be like, hey, what do you think about that? And he seems pretty informed as far as what's going on in the NBA and the playoffs. But I've watched a few episodes, and that's all it is. It's like at the beginning, there's a playoff, and then in between, even talking about that, there's more chats and things and whatnot. And then there's the inevitable Opie and Anthony or just an Anthony question. Sometimes he blows those off. Sometimes he addresses them. And then one I saw very recently was like, will there be an O&A reunion? People are talking about that there's going to be an O&A reunion. Any comment on that? And he actually said something like, well, I got things up my sleeve. Yeah, your arm. Because there's no nothing's up that sleeve as far as an O&A that we spoke 10 years ago. We have not spoken in that time. That's just how it is. That's how things go sometimes. We had just gotten done with our 20th anniversary of being a show, and then I get fired. Whoops! But 20 years, and now it's 30 years. It would have been 30 years, and I'm thinking like that was 94. Holy fuck! How did 1994 turn into 30 years ago? That's the thing that really gets me. 1994 was 30 fucking years ago. That's a long time, 30 years. That's a lot of shit. So I don't know, 30 fucking years though? Crazy. But 20 years of doing the show, and then 10 years we haven't even spoken. No, there's been nothing. There's been not a hint of a Opie and Anthony reunion or any type of thing. I don't even know how that would work. Like, I completely have no clue how anything like that would work. The initial awkwardness and just weirdness might be entertaining for people. A few self-deprecating and ball-busting jokes. But then what? We go into, hey, Ope, what's up? Well, Anthony. And we just start doing the show? That's gone. That's not even a thing anymore that people do. Never mind Opie and Anthony. So, I don't see it happening in that capacity. If anybody is looking for an Opie and Anthony show, that's just long gone. Could there possibly be some type of mutual, not even a show, I don't know what, a thing that we worked on together, that we put together and do? Maybe, but there's been no inkling about that. I wouldn't even know what that would be either. But, just talking about the show, I couldn't see there being an Opie and Anthony show. Hey, what's up, bud? Yeah, Opie, how you doing, man? What do we got today? Well, Bob Kelly's going to be in a little later. Looking forward to... That ain't going to happen. Opie hates Bob Kelly. Yeah, Bill Burr's going to be... No, I can't see that happening. Bill Burr hates me. All right, we got Jim Norton. Well, we know that's not going to happen. What kind of Opie and Anthony show could there possibly be? What do we go way back to the original WBAB days? Spin some records and come out and get someone from a 7-Eleven to come in and do something crazy for Springsteen tickets? Sometimes things just go. 30 years. 30 fucking years. When we first got the Opie and Anthony show together, 30 years before that, they were going, radio was a bang-a-dang. Radio was that. The Drifters. We have the Drifters coming up next. You could win tickets to Elvis Presley. That was 30 years before O&A. Now, 30 years after, it's just as gone as, that is. So I don't know what to tell you, people. If you've been holding out hope, this is it. This is all you got. It's the Anthony Cumia show. And I'm brilliant. I get that. I've grown with the times. No 55-gallon drum challenge in my house. Would be fun, though. Not saying that things weren't great and fun and funny, very entertaining, but it's, time moves on. Things change. And the idea of sitting in a studio or any setting with Opie doing a show just doesn't make any sense. And then, look, I've kind of grown used to the lead chair guy. I've gotten used to being, I dictate what goes on and what clips are played and what we talk about and how long we talk about when we go to a Steven Singer read or some, So it'd be a little hard for me to take that back seat and just go, yeah, all right. Ha-ha, yeah. Oh, shit. Kind of grown accustomed to taking on more of a lead role in this entertainment juggernaut. Yeah. Anyway, I was watching a little of the Opster and thought about that whole thing. Oh, drinking water like crazy. This bubbly stuff. Everyone's drinking this now.
All right, so an Opie and Anthony reunion is not going to happen. I love, though, how it's 10 years later and Cumia is still trashing Opie. I just find it to be hilarious that still the consistency, a decade of trashing this man, it's hilarious to me. I agree with Cumia, though. I don't see the only way an Opie and Anthony reunion could work is if they got hired by a radio station. That's the only way it could actually work, where it would be a radio show again. I don't think it would work as a podcast or even a show on Compound Media, and they would have to revert back to their roles. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. Opie doing the 500 feet above your head streams. I bet you Cumia checks out every single one of them. I guarantee you. He checks it out on our burner account too and types into the chat. I bet you he does that. But I mean, look, an O&A reunion, not going to happen. Will we get a Cumia and Jim Norton reunion, though? Because I don't see Jim and Sam lasting too much longer at SiriusXM. I don't know if SiriusXM is going to renew that contract that's coming up. And maybe that's why Jim Norton has jumped on YouTube with his wife and trying to pump out content that way. So you might get that. I'm not too sure about that, though, either. Because, I mean, Cumia is now in South Carolina. So, and Cumia is probably not moving back to New York. So, I don't even see how that would work. Because I know I know Jim Norton is not moving to South Carolina with his transgendered wife. That will not happen. So, I don't know. That was him on the Opie and Anthony reunion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.